How about now? Sound on now? Is that working? Is that better? It's telling me that now I have sound. The problem was I had the preamp of my microphones turned off. If you have sound now, please let me know. I would really like to know. I've gotten several comments here saying no sound. No more have appeared, but there we are. Okay, so first thing, and don't worry, I will stop the scratching of the microphone. Anyway, here we are. First things first. Crystal, huzzah! Glad you're here. Michael Daniel 73, huzzah! Glad you're here. Mum, huzzah! Glad you're here. All of you, thank you for being here. So, welcome once again to Storytime. Tonight we continue the saga of the Haunted Mask, the chilling, ever so terrifying, scary story of the Haunted Mask, brought to us by R.L. Stein, giving us all some goosebumps. Before we get started back up, another sip of wine. Now I'm feeling fine. And of course, Facebook, Brett Picorni, easy to find. Storytime, 2 words, exclamation point at the end. YouTube, B Picorni 1. Make sure you hit like on this video. Subscribe, whichever the way that is, if you haven't already. And of course, share it with your friends. Oh, and do comment. I do appreciate the comments. And finally, Twitch, Brett Doesn't Game, all one word. Now, just a heads up. In all likelihood, I will probably be moving this strictly to YouTube fairly soon, just because I would like to promote the fact that it's on there, and I would like people to watch from there, so I can get more subscribers and more views and stuff like that on my YouTube channel. I know, it's so selfish of me. And some other news. I will probably, in the near future, not too near, but near enough, be slowing down on Storytime. No more 7 nights a week, dropping it down to fewer. That way I can focus on other videos. So yes, that would mean no story every night, but it would also mean you get some more primo content from yours truly. And I hope you would enjoy that. Anyway, moving on, allow us to begin once again reading our favorite story of the evening. R.L. Stein's Goosebumps, The Haunted Mask. Are you ready? Because we are jumping in at chapter 11. A smoothie. Not a smoothie. Alright, it's not a smoothie at all. Alright, sorry, I had to check on something there. Okay, I see Jessica has joined us. Huzzah! What, Michael Daniel 73? What? Yes, I have been rather generous with my time, I suppose. But I like being here for you. I like being here for all of you. Anyway, shall we? Chapter 11. What's going on here? Carly Beth cried, tugging at the mask with both hands. Stop it, Noah cried. His voice sounded angry, but his eyes revealed fear. Stop kidding around, Carly Beth. You're scaring me. I'm not kidding around, Carly Beth insisted in her harsh, raspy voice. I can't. I really can't. I can't get this off. Take it off. You're not funny, her brother shouted. With great effort, Carly Beth managed to slip her fingers under the neck of the mask. Then she pulled it away from her skin and lifted it off her head. Whew. The air felt so cool and sweet. She shook her hair free. Then she playfully tossed the mask at Noah. Good mask, huh? She grinned at him. He let the mask bounce onto the bed. Then he picked it up hesitantly and examined it. Where'd you get it? He asked, poking a finger against the ugly fangs. At that new party store, she told him, wiping perspiration from her forehead. It's so hot inside it. Can I try it on? Noah asked, pushing his fingers through the eye holes. Not now, I'm late, she replied harshly. She laughed. You sure look scared. He tossed the mask back at her, frowning. I was just pretending, he said. I knew it was you. For sure, she replied, rolling her eyes. That's why you screamed like a maniac. I did not scream, Noah protested. It was just putting on an act. For you. Yeah, right, said Carly Beth. She turned and headed toward the door, rolling the mask over her hand. How do you change your voice like that? Noah called out to her. Carly Beth stopped at the doorway and turned back to him. Her smile gave way to a puzzled expression. That deep voice was the scariest part, Noah said, staring at the mask in her hand. How did you do that? I don't know, Carly Beth replied thoughtfully. I really don't know. By the time she got to her room, she was grinning again. The mask had worked. It had been a wonderful success. Noah might not want to admit it, but when Carly Beth burst in on him, growling through the hideous mask, he nearly jumped out of his cockroach shell. Look out, Chuck and Steve, she thought gleefully. You're next. She sat down on her bed and glanced at the clock radio on her bed table. She had a few minutes until it was time to meet everyone in front of Sabrina's house. Time enough to think of the best possible way to give them the scare of their lives. I don't want to just jump out at them, Carly Beth thought, playing her fingers over the sharp fangs. That's too boring. I want to do something they'll remember, something they'll never forget. She ran her hands over the mask's pointy ears. Suddenly, she had an idea. And I see Jean has joined us. Huzzah! Thank you for being here. Time now for Chapter 12. Carly Beth pulled the old broom handle from the closet. She brushed off a thick pall of dust and examined the long wooden pole. It's true. Perfect, she thought. She checked to make sure her mother was still in the kitchen. She was sure that her mother wouldn't approve of what Carly Beth was about to do. Mrs. Caldwell still thought that Carly Beth was going to wear the duck costume. Tiptoeing silently into the living room, Carly Beth stepped up to the mantel and pulled out the plaster of Paris, head her mother had sculpted. It really does look just like me, Carly Beth thought, holding the sculpture waist high and studying it carefully. It's so lifelike. Mom is really talented. Carefully, she placed the head on the broomstick. It balanced easily. She carried it over to the hallway mirror. It looks like I'm carrying my real head on a stick, Carly Beth thought, admiring it. A wide grin broke out across her face. Her eyes sparkled gleefully. Excellent. Perhaps I shouldn't have sipped the wine at that moment. The music says I shouldn't have. There was a loud burst of ta-da, which means perhaps my wine was poisoned. I will just hope for the best and continue reading. A wide grin broke out across her face. Her eyes sparkled gleefully. Excellent. Excellent. She leaned the head against and the stick against the wall and pulled on the mask. Once again, the sour aroma rushed into her nostrils. The heat of the mask seemed to wrap around her. The mask tightened against her skin as she pulled it down. Raising her eyes to the mirror, she nearly frightened herself. It's like a real face, she thought, unable to take her eyes away. My eyes seem a part of it. It doesn't look as if I'm peering out of eye holes. She moved. She moved the gruesome mouth up and down a few times. It moved like a real mouth, she realized. It doesn't look like a mask at all. It looks like a gross, deformed face. Working with both hands, she flattened the bulging forehead, smoothing it over her hair. Excellent, she repeated to herself, feeling her excitement grow. Excellent. Excellent. The mask is perfect, she decided. She couldn't believe the man in the party store didn't want to sell it to her. It was the scariest, realest, ugliest mask she'd ever seen. I will be the terror of Maple Avenue tonight, Carly Beth decided, admiring herself in the mirror. Kids will be having nightmares about me for weeks, especially Chuck and Steve, she told herself. Boo, she muttered to herself, pleased to hear that the gruff voice had returned. I'm ready. She picked up the broomstick, carefully balanced her sculpted head on top of it, and started to the door. Her mother's voice stopped her. Carly Beth, wait up! Mrs. Caldwell called from the kitchen. I want to see how you look in that duck costume. Uh-oh, Carly Beth groaned out loud. Mum isn't going to like this. And that, dear friends, is the end of chapter 12. Which means we are done with Goosebumps for the evening. We are done with reading for the evening. We are done with story time for the evening. And hello, Rev. Huzzah! Glad you could join us. Now, because we're finished, I must first remind you. Facebook, Brett Piccone, 2 words. Well, of course, 2 words. It's my name. Story time, 2 words, exclamation point at the end. YouTube, B Piccone 1. Yeah, like, subscribe, follow the channel, you know, that good stuff. Make sure you share it with your friends too. And comment plenty.